Hello everyone, so in today's video I've got Crxss with me, as you can see here, and we're going to be talking about some of the cards we are most excited for from the new set. Now before we get started, I first want to clarify that there will be no legends in this, because otherwise I think we were basically like everything was legend that we were super excited for, so we're going for non-legend cards. And also go check out Crxss. I'll put links in the description and stuff, so you can do that. Is there anything you want to add, or shall we get started?
No, we're good to go. Let's go ahead.
Alright, so the first card that we are excited for is Pentagonal Orchestra Bellringer. So this is a 7-drop artist. 7/2 with Infiltrate, and the passive, whenever you play a blue card, this minion gains +100/+1 for the duration of this turn. So this was Crxss's first pick, so why don't you explain why you're so excited for this card?
Yeah. So the reason I'm really excited for this card, so there were like a lot of 7-drops aside from blue that got this, like whenever you play a card of this color you gain a +1 DP and stuff like that. But for this one is because it's like the 6-drop from last set. It's set better, and the thing with blue and artist is that artist has access to spells of any color, and it also happens that one of the new artist cards, I don't know the exact name of it yet though, but it can add this white spell to your hand that prevents your card from getting targeted by effects. So you can easily prevent Bellringer from getting targeted with something that's already like in your engine. And then on top of that, it's really easy to get a lot of blue cards out that will buff up Bellringer. Like for instance, like you can play the 1-drop artist, grab a 1-drop spell, then play that 1-drop spell. Bam! You already have +2 DP for just 2 mana, yeah, which is really good. And we already have Sheldon and stuff like that. And even outside of Sheldon, it already has Infiltrate. And I mean, it will depend on like what the meta is, but at least looking at the current meta and stuff like that, there aren't really any notable 7-drops that like stay on field. I mean, if like cards like Memoria get popular, or if Green Mask Tribal stays popular, which I mean it probably won't, let's be honest, but if it does, I mean, I guess those are concerns, but it already has it already prevents cards from blocking it, and it's really easy to gain DP on it, and you can prevent it from being targeted by effects. So it's a really good OTK card. So yeah, that's why I'm excited for it.
I think one of the other super scary things about it is it's an artist, right? So it triggers the legend spell, so you'll just search something which you'll get to play for free. So you can like get your free board wipe off it, or like any of that stuff when you hard play this, right?
Yeah. That's what's really nice. God. And
so yeah, pretty crazy card. I remember when I was doing like my set reviews for this, like every single time I saw this effect, I was like, one of these is going to be broken. Like one of these is going to have a stupid deck, and it's probably going to be blue.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we've got my first pick, and this is kind of a rogue one, I suppose. So this is Shot the Mercenary. This is a 1-drop soldier elf, 3/0 passive. As minion enters the rest state when it moves to base, and it costs either 1 white or 1 green mana. So on the surface, this card's fucking dog shit. Like there's no real way to look at this like in a vacuum and go, wow, this card's broken, because it's really not. It's good for 2 reasons. One of the reasons is it's giving you cheap dual color mana, which is cool. That's fine. The real reason we care about this card is because it's a 1-drop elf, and I believe this is the only 1-drop elf in the game. Certainly, I think it's the first one. And well, obviously it would have to be if it was the only one. So with Ove, this is going to let you basically instantly evolve, and we saw with Yami during the Battle Spirit format just how valuable evolving quickly and early was, and I think this is going to be a really powerful tool for elves to just get their bullshit engine going. Because one of the biggest problems with elves, obviously before they really started getting crept, was they were just a bit slow. And this is going to help speed them up a lot. I don't know if you played elves much at all during the first few sets, but...
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. So when Christian first showed me this card, I'm like, well, why the fuck is this on your list? And then you mentioned the elf thing, and I was like, oh, and it kind of just clicked. And I think it is really solid for the reasons he said. And I mean, I know that Ove, which just in case you don't know what Ove is, it's the green evoker. It's the green evoker minion. Let me specify the one that isn't your grass tool. So like, it's the 6 house one basically. And the reason that I also think this is really good with this is Elves already has like a 2-drop that like reduces the cost of Ove by 1. So shot could be going off like super early, and getting to 6 mana is already on your curve, like in terms of like like when you start the turn, how much mana you have. So like just 1 or 2 of those green elves that like reduce your evoker's cost by 1, and a shot, and like you're evolving Ove the turn you place it, which is really solid. And as Christian already said, one of the problems with the deck was the slowness of it, so that is like really nice, and it's going to help with like consistently getting out like a lot of O's and getting them to level 3 really early, which will put your opponent in like a lot of like well, what's the word for this, like kill trouble, that's not the best way to say it, but it's gonna put them in danger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think elves are finally going to have a proper comeback. I mean, they needed this massive wave of support, and to be fair, I really wasn't expecting them to get as much as they got. Because I saw the legend like dual color minion, and I was like, oh, maybe we'll get a couple of elves, and then it was just like 10 cards. I was like, oh shit, this deck's gonna be good.
Yeah, I thought they just hated elves, but they finally got support.
It's about time. The most expensive deck will return.
Yeah.
Okay, so so many legends, dude. So next we've got Cross's next pick, and that is Sturmgeist of the Ghost Fleet. So this is a 4-cost sprite monster, blue-purple. You can pay 2 either blue or purple mix. Has Infiltrate, and when summoned, retrieve 1 blue or purple card with a cost of 6 or lower from your trash and return it to your hand. So why don't you talk through this choice?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say too much. Like, I'm not gonna say like too much about this card, but I just think that it's a really good utility card. I remember at some point during the purple battle spirits era, there were some Japanese players, and I think I used it in one of my YouTube lists, like running like Trickstar, just so you could like retrieve like destruction and stuff like that. So I think that this card's a really good utility card, because even outside of just like returning minions you want, being able to like recur that destruction spell is really solid. So I think that's basically the main reason I put it, is because I really like I really liked it recurring those spells, those spells like on call, like immediately, like no other conditions, you just play the card and you get some of your really powerful flash spells back. I think it's even decent in blue, maybe like I think it's honestly probably better in purple than blue, because I don't think blue will really have the space for it, but it could see potential there as well. But
yeah, I completely agree, and I obviously don't forget the really obvious synergy beyond the spells is, oh yes, purple has cards that will instantly put themselves on board if you add them back to your hand. So there's a lot of utility to this card, and I think it might be the next card. One of my picks is basically going to be for the same reasons. So it is the next card, so we'll talk about that. That's Invade. This is a 2-cost spell, which you can use either blue or purple, and it says main mill 3, then retrieve 1 blue or purple card that is not invade from your trash, not from those 3. So it can be literally anything. So yeah, pretty much the exact same reasons as Cross gave. Now obviously, the benefits of Sturmgeist is you're getting a minion on board, you're getting a body, and it actually does something. But what you're getting here is 1, you're not restricted by cost, which is really nice. 2, if you're trying to revive stuff, this is a much cheaper way to do it. And 3, it's potentially, if you do need to be milling stuff, this is also going to add to that. But I think that's like the less important bit. That the main is those first 2. So sort of very similar picks for the same reasons. And I imagine Cross probably went for Sturmgeist because I chose Invade. Both these cards, I think, do not sleep on the potential that purple has with some of the blue stuff, getting access to that blue stuff with that dual color mana. Do not sleep on the potential of this deck. Trust me, it's gonna be scary. Like there will be these revive based decks, and they will have silly value, and you'll be sitting there like, fuck, what do I do? I guess also worth saying, Sturmgeist into Invade is an infinite, so you'll always have it. But like, I don't know how good that'll be, but you will always have a minion if you loop those two. So that's a thing. Don't know how good that'll be, but yeah.
Yeah, like just with these recurring cards, I think that like blue/purple control is going to be very interesting. At first I was like looking at like a blue/purple control deck, and I'm like, like I'm not too sure because like the aggro decks still seem super fast. But after looking at some of like the neutral options, and even looking that purple just got a card that like mass does like 200 BP to your opponent's board, I am kind of excited to see what a blue-purple control deck could do.
Yeah, I think there's definite potential. I agree. It's kind of a toss-up how good it'll be, but we'll find out. So next is Crxss's next pick, and speaking of aggro cards, this is Ambush Tactics. This is a 5-cost, 1 red, 1 yellow spell. This is flash speed. Select one of your opponent's minions to lose 600 BP for the duration of this turn, so that's removing pretty much anything. And then put a red or yellow field minion whose original cost is 4 or lower from your hand onto the field. This doesn't trigger when summoned, I believe.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't believe it triggers when summoned yet. So I'm just the reason I'm just excited for this card because, well, first off, it comes off as kind of a better Goblin mobilization for me. I mean, Goblin mobilization was getting like 2 minions on the board, but those 2 minions were like some small like 300 BP Goblin cards. This card is basically Megaton Hammer mixed with giving you another attacker, and with looking at some of the red cards, like it really seems like it's focused on just like bum rushing your opponent, you know? So like being able to remove a card on your opponent's board while also being able to get a 4-cost on the field is really nice. And the other thing that I'm curious about is how this will fare in yellow. Now, I won't say for sure this will be used in yellow. Like, I think it's definitely a toss-up, but I think this is one of yellow's first convenient ways to like permanently remove a card on your opponent's board. Like, for instance, I know one of the huge problems with Angels last format was like getting like clapped by Virtuous Knight being in green, and having like a permanent way to get that removal is nice while also being able to set up another minion on your board. So I'm kind of curious on like the potential of this card, you know? Like I can't say for sure that it's going to be super good, but I think the potential's there.
I think it's right. Yeah, I'm more positive on this than you, to be honest. I think it's going to be really good because it's kind of generic. It's not like put a dragon unit or put a winged on, as you sort of might expect from a card that's this much value. But the other thing to keep in mind is that it's the Tsujinoko, I believe it is, the 1-drop, the 1-drop yellow battle spirit. That will let you convert one of your mana into either red or purple or yellow. So this will slot right into... So one, yellow will be able to have this live. Any yellow deck will have this live super easily. And two, Godsex decks are probably going to be able to abuse this pretty easily. So I think there's potential there. Obviously, I'm just a Godsex simp, so I bring that up at every opportunity. I agree. This is a super strong card.
I think that's also... like a good mention, by the way, like the Godsex and stuff like that. Like, well, I'm not 100%. Like, I think Godsex is like a really good option, probably to be used. But like the multicolor, like I don't mean like multicolors like just in red and yellow. Like I think there was this new 10-cost legend, right? If you have like
6 or more colors,
like 6 or more, you get to like I'm really curious in like how viable those decks were, because when I saw that, like the first thing I saw is that 1-drop battle spirits you mentioned that instantly gets you yellow and red. So like those decks do sound like kind of interesting, especially also looking like we also got like some really good like blue, purple, and green, white like control options in terms of spells, which we'll mention like another one later on. But
assertion spell. I don't think they'll be super good, but I think they'll be fun at least. Yeah. Okay, so next is my next pick, and I know Cross would have wanted to pick this one too, but I just stole it. And this is Death Shark of the Ghost Fleet. So this is 4-cost, 1 blue, 1 purple, Sprite Monster, 5/1. On your turn, whenever one of your blue minions deals damage, draw 1 card. This effect cannot stack. And passive, all of your purple minions receive the following effect, and this effect cannot stack. On your turn, if attacking a force, deal 1 damage to that force. So this card is absolutely ridiculous, and I think if it works how I think it does, I think it'll work like this. If a dual color minion, blue-purple, attacks an opponent's force, it will burn 1, draw, because it's coming from the minion. And then if the damage goes through from that minion, it'll draw again. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But even if that's not how it works, even if it's only the 1 draw, this is still stupid.
Yeah.
Like, this is burn and card advantage on a very fairly costed minion. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like that passive effect of just like burning one of your opponent's force on swing is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, I'm not saying Yami's coming back or anything, but any of the purple decks that had problems with like Sphinx and stuff like that, like you have a really easy option of getting rid of that Sphinx now. Like this once again takes me back to purple BS era where the Sphinx mirror matches were literally like you kill Sphinx first and then you start going ham from there. Like this gives you like a really good option of getting rid of like forces that either like hurt you or getting rid of your opponent's utility forces quite easily. So it's really nice. I like this card.
Yeah, I think this is one of the basically this card and the two legendaries are the reasons you look at purple blue and you go, maybe. Okay, next is Crxss's pick, and that is Oasis Turtles. This is a 3-cost Legion Beast.
Oasis.
Infiltrate on your turn whenever one of your opponent's minions enters the field. That minion loses 300 BP. So go ahead and make your case for why this card deserves to be here.
Yeah, so by enters field, that should also refer to like advancing and calling from deck and stuff like that. So I'm really interested in Oasis Turtle because aside from being like really good early tempo, where like if your opponent calls like a cheap card to move into base, it gets insta killed. I think it's a really interesting card to have against tribals because the thing with tribals is that most of their cards are based like 300 BP, and then they have some cards that like get plus 400 BP when they're moved from base. Sorry, not when they're moved from base to field, but when they have 6 more mana in base. So I think also aside from being like a really good early tempo card, it is also a really good card against tribals. So I think that's the main reason I was looking at Oasis Turtle. I'm just really curious to see like how good this is against tribals, and even aside from that, like the 300 BP is a permanent decrease, which is really nice, especially if blue purple control, especially if like that's a thing that's going to be really nice for helping against like those aggro deck matchups and stuff like that. So I think it's really a meta call, but I think that it has potential to be like a really good meta call.
The thing is, because it is only during your turn, so Yeah. So minor misunderstanding from Crxss there, but I think I do still think there's a lot of potential for this card because one, there's swooping, and you're absolutely right. I didn't consider the moving out for base and stuff because red does that, right? Like duelists, I'm pretty sure they do have flash speed to move stuff out of base or to summon stuff from deck. I think if this was on both players' turns, I think this card would be like broken. I'm very glad it isn't. But I do think there is a lot of potential here, and it is a meta call. But I am interested to see how this card does. I think if it was a 2-cost, it would be a lot better, but maybe too good because like then weenies are bringing it out, and it's like a auto include meta call. I'm not sure, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can't read. Let's just throw that out there.
Do be like that. Okay, on to my penultimate pick, and that is Spy Goblin. And this was also a pick Crxss wanted to make, because who the fuck would not want to make this pick? This is a Legion Goblin. 2 cost 2/1. When summoned, you receive the following effect until the end of your opponent's turn. Your opponent's when summoned effects do not activate. I mean, unless we entered a meta where there was no when summoned effects, which I don't see happening, this card is stupid. I mean, like, I don't really know what to say because I feel like it's so obviously dumb. Like, it turns off your opponent's ability to gain advantage on a lot of stuff. Like, I think a lot of early game stuff. I'm trying to think of good early game cards that are not when summons, and I can't think of many. And then even in the late game, a lot of the very powerful when summons, like, for example, this turns off Seaworm Nova. Like, you're not getting your board wiped. Yeah, this turns off, like, Artegal. This turns off...
Angela.
Yeah, this turns off so much stuff. And the thing is, it doesn't even need to survive. It just gives you the effect. Like, your player has the effect. This card, I mean...
I think the card speaks for itself. You know, like I can barely read, and even I can see this is busted. Like this card
Literal illiterate, and he's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it's one of I think it's one of the like best medicals we've ever seen, and like this is more than like every deck basically has one summon, unless you're like. Man, even Tribals has one summon. Like,
everything.
Everything has one summon. Like,
I mean, like, I think this is probably going to be a staple, but it might not. I don't. I think it'll be format warping because people are gonna have to like think about this card from now on, forever when they build their deck. Because if they make their 3s, 4s too reliant on when summons, if your opponent Spy Goblins you, you just lose. So, I think it's it will not surprise me, necessarily, if this got nerfed in the future. Not now, I think it's fine now, but I think in the future it might be to the point that they're like, okay, we shouldn't have done this.
How do you say that? The cost 9... Lachesis?
Lachesis,
you know, I don't know. Lachesis, Lachesis is gonna struggle against this card, man. Like, because, like, you can just, like, play this and end your turn, and then like what is I mean,
like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
what are you doing?
I think this is I feel like it's too well costed at 2. I think it should have been like a 3 or a 4 drop. Not
it's a 2 cost.
It's like, why are you getting this so early? And it's not even like a 2 cost like 100-0, like actual dog shit. Like, you can actually swing with this, and it's Legion, so you can use it to pay for like your Legion spells, and it gets all the benefits that come with being a Legion attributed thing. Come on, Bandom.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think maybe they just didn't want to have a repeat with Virtuous Knight, because if I recall, Virtuous Knight was initially costed 3. Although, I mean, I think the card might have come out before English beta. So, like, not many people know this, but it was initially costed 3 and they had to take it down to 2. But, like, this card's, like, compared to Virtuous Knight, like, this card is absolutely always doing something against, like, any deck. Like, I don't know about it being 2 cost, but we'll see. You know,
we'll see. I hope I'm wrong about it needing a nerf or something, but I could see it going to 3 mana. But yeah. Okay, final card, and this is one that both Cross and I were very much in agreement with, and it's so much so that we decided to make it both of our 5th picks. So this is Reversal Flare. This is a 4-cost white-green spell. You need 1 white, 1 green. Main flash: put all your opponent's minions with a cost of 5 or lower in the rest state. Then banish all your opponent's minions with a cost of 3 or lower that are in the rest state. Cross, why don't you explain this, because I'm just aroused by it, honestly.
This card's broken. This card is so fucking broken, bro. I don't know. I don't know, like, who made this. This card is good in like what? Like, I don't understand. Like, tribals were using like a Ragnarok beforehand, right? To like just rest everything on your opponent's board. Now they have Reversal Flare, and sure, like, it doesn't rest like the higher costed cards, but like, when you're playing against aggro decks like that, like, you really want like a lot of like you need convenient blockers. The most convenient blockers are like cheap blockers, because those are the ones that can swarm the board and block multiple minions. Reversal Flare not only rests those minions, but it also banishes them. Like, it's just it's so fucking.
It's an aggressive card. It's a defensive card, and if you're playing tribal and you do not see your legend spell like by turn 3, and bear in mind, if you don't see it and you don't devote a mana to it, and that's the big thing, because tribal devoting a mana, that's gonna slow you down a lot. So like, this, just by existing, is going to slow the tempo of tribal in that matchup, and if they don't see the legend spell, it's just gonna single-handedly win you the matchup, because you'll just banish the whole board, and they'll go, well, I want to fucking kill myself now.
And they just did Duelist dirty. Like,
they really did. Duelists have no out to this.
They don't even. They literally don't have an out. Jesus Christ.
Like, this like the one saving grace in quotation marks is Duelists can kind of play around it if they like are careful.
Yeah.
Because like, they don't, as long as they don't commit to a whole board before they start swinging.
Exactly,
but like, you know, so can tribal. So like, well, I guess tribal less so, because they have to They build that board slowly over time.
Yeah,
whereas,
they're building their board. Like,
yeah,
they
duelists just shit it out
they
all
have
in
to
one
see the
turn when they
legend.
want to kill you.
Yeah, and then elves, like I do wanna mention that this is like, because oath's effect, if I recall right, is it I think it's the level 3 effect, destroys your opponent's lowest cost minion, right?
I think,
And
or it might be
this is,
I'm not sure. I think probably lowest. Those those cards back then was usually lowest.
yeah, well, yeah. It's like if it is lowest, which if I recall, like I'm pretty sure it is lowest, but you know, like if it is lowest, then like this card banishing 3 or lower, that's also it's extremely good in elves.
Yeah. Well, that's that. Those are our 9 cards we are most excited for HELIX. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, sub, head over to Crxss's channel, sub to him too. Appreciate him being on very much. It's always nice to get someone on we can bounce ideas off of and have a fun discussion and roast each other for not being able to read.
Facts.
Let me know in the comment section what cards you're most excited for. I am legitimately curious. And I will see everyone tomorrow for the big fat. I think I'm going to manage 200 packs. I think.
200 packs.
Close.
Okay.
It'll be close if not. But yeah, thanks for watching again, and I will see you guys then. Cheers.